Hey, Pre-Cal 12, it's Coach Jay. I'm obviously not there with you today as we head into prep week, and I wanted to set you up in a good way as we approach the last assignment of the semester. Uh, this whole project that we're going to do should go from today, being Monday, all the way through the end of the week on this Friday. The project will be due on Saturday. So just as a heads up there, I gave you an extra day in case you needed some time to be able to get that done. My goal this week is to hopefully touch base with you either by coming to class or just simply doing like a podcast or something for any questions that are here. So continue communication, even though I know that I'm going to be gone because of my son and my wife and my family and whatnot. I'm here for you, so continue contact me and I'll get back with you whenever I can. The big thing with this is great communication, both on between me to you and then obviously you to me. And so as we look towards the end of the semester, my game plan is that many of you do a great job on this project by finishing strong. So follow the guidelines here and continue to help each other out, and we'll rock and roll. All right, just as a heads up, where you can find all the information, this is the topics page for Pre-Calculus 12. You'll see Coach Jay right here, see me kind of pointing at you. This is the end of semester project and the final grade for the semester. Okay, this is a test grade, and you'll notice that all the information follows right here. And so I'm not going to read all of it to you. In fact, I didn't even print these out for you because they're right online, so you could just check it out. But notice a couple of ideas here. This is an individual project. Because it's a test grade, I need everyone to do one individually here. Also, you're going to have all class time to execute, plan, solve, and put it all together there. Make sure you follow the requirements of each of the components in order for you to be successful. Continue communication either through text or through email. And again, also use creativity. Some of these things will allow you to use really anything you want to in terms of creating problems that are there. My whole game plan for you is to hopefully apply some of the stuff that you've learned throughout the year to be able to put it into a project format going forward. Now, the requirements, you're going to make one multimedia project that's there. Again, it could be a Prezi, it could be PowerPoint, it could also be maybe you decide that you want to do something like, I guess you could do like a poster board. I would prefer it be online mainly because I don't know when I'm going to be back. And so I want to get those grades put in as soon as possible. In fact, as you finish the project, go ahead and submit them online right away. And that way we can kind of go off that, okay? Right here, this is the only part. The due date has changed because this was from last year. The due date will be this coming Saturday, which will be making sure the 15th, I believe, is when the due date is. So get those in. Again, the whole idea is that you use class time to complete it there. Now, as you keep going, we'll use some of the concepts that we've done from pre-calculus or even next semester. Again, if it's beyond what you already know, that's okay. You don't have to do that one. You kind of pick the problems that you would like to attack. So some examples from the topics of what people have done, and I'll show you some here in a second, is verifying an identity. It's a really good one. Solving triangles with right angles, solving triangles without a right angle. That would be law of cosines and sines. Bearing problems, walking, driving throughout Atlanta. Integrating bearings to see how it creates a new bearing. Airplane and wind, if you remember those. Graphing sine and cosine, angles of elevation and depression. And then here's another one too, solving systems of equations. That's another good one if you're looking for one that involves a real world example. So again, it is due by this coming Saturday, and I will be grading it using a rubric that is online, and I'll post that here actually in just a second. Here's an example of the rubric just so that you see it. Actually, I think I've got it down here. Yeah, here's a good example of it. Each of the 5 problems will be graded out of 15 points there. So if you think about that, that's kind of how we would attack it, how we look at it there. Also, if you one thing that's also required is that once you complete your problems, your 5 problems that you create, you have to then switch it with someone else. Now, it could be that you and a couple other people just kind of rotate problems, and that's fine. But you've got to do 5 additional problems from your classmates, and then you can kind of check them with your classmate as well. But you need to use sufficient work and drawings and context and all of that. Also, the neatness and creativity aspect is huge. Again, you want to make sure when you submit it, that it looks really clean, it looks neat, that you do some good work in order to get that good grade that's there. The majority of the points come from accuracy, how you write the problem, how you do the problem, and then also the fact that you do other people's problems that are there, and that way you could submit that along with your own. So what's submitted? Well, here's the idea. You're going to have 5 problems that are real-world example problems, and again, I'll show you examples in a second. You'll submit those 5 with correct context, work, all that's needed. Then you're going to submit 5 problems from someone else's work. So you'll go to someone else's problems. It could be maybe 2 here, another here. But you're going to submit 5 problems of the work that you showed from others that have been done there. Okay? So make sure that you're rotating those problems so that everyone can kind of get the work that's needed in order to get those points on there. Some people have forgotten to do this and have really suffered because of it. So don't forget this part right here. So just make sure that you do that, and this will go right straight on the out of 20 category. This part's extra. If you want to try to verify this identity, that's appropriate. You could do that, and you show the steps to verifying this identity. I'll give you some additional points on your grade here. But that's where, again, the rubric is as you're looking at it. Here's an example of a problem that maybe if you're looking at it, you're like, hey, coach, how does that look? This was an example one that I created. It says 2 people leave Atlanta. One travels 10 miles at a bearing of north 23 degrees west. Another travels 20 miles at a bearing of north 40 degrees east. What's the distance between these 2 individuals? Now, this has the context of Atlanta, which is pretty cool. And then it gives you kind of a map if you wanted to draw it on there. But as you notice down below, you'll see that this right here is sufficient in showing work. So you have Atlanta, one goes this way, one goes the other. And I think we had one off the test very similar to this. And by the way, you could use tests or anything you want to if you need some help on how to create some problems that are real world. And once I give the real world context, I can show the work down below. And right here, this would give me the full points for this specific problem. I've got the context. I've got the problem that I created. It would be good if you put the problem on one sheet, and then on the next sheet, I kind of left room to be able to put the work that's there. And then all I would do is then go to problem 2, 3, 4, and 5. Each of the 5 need to be different. So if I do law of cosines and sines, next time I need to do verifying a trig identity, or maybe I do a supply and demand problem, or so on and so forth. Another component of that is make sure that they're difficult enough in order to get full credit. This is where I can come into play and really answer emails and say, yeah, that looks really good. Or, hey, why don't you try this in making it a little more difficult. So that would be a good example if you were looking at one that you might want to utilize there. So there's the rubric, there's the project. Here's the rubric that you'll be graded on. You kind of can see I'll put little things here. This was someone's from last year. Notice as I go down, they got some points deducted. Right here, it needed more information questions. The problem was great start, but there was not there. Yeah, if you don't have the difficulty that's there, what will happen is I will deduct you from that. Sorry about that. Sorry, Torrance. I'll get back with you. Sorry about that. But yeah, we'll again just won't give you the full amount of points that are there. Okay. And also, I think they forgot to do the board problem, so they got deducted on that as well. So just some things there as we're moving forward. Here's some example problems of what people have done here. I'll just kind of scroll down and show you. They did well on that one. That one was a good one. I think there's there. Here's one too. Here's another one. Although this one is very similar to this down here. Although if I use the law of sines, which I think they did here, down below they used the law of cosine. So that was actually appropriate. They could do that. That's good. Okay. Let me show you another one. Let's see if I could show you a good one here. This one's Alex's. Alex did a great job last year. And that's why I'm going to show it. This right here is a good example of approaching questions from the problem up above, talking about specifically bearings, and I think she used the law of sines and cosines here. Yeah, she did a really good job here. She actually took it and really made it her own, which I was really impressed with. This one with the Parthenon, used the SOHCAHTOA. This was a basic SOHCAHTOA problem. I'm allowing one of those out of the 5. But I don't want all 5 of them just basic SOHCAHTOA. Like, I want you to stretch yourself a little bit. This one's a good one. Wow, this was really intriguing. She made this up, which I thought was really, really good. She made her own trig identity. So that would be something cool too. If you were to try to make your own trig identity, that would be one that you could do. You'll notice that in the trig identity one, you do not really have to have a context there. That's the only one that does not have to have a real world context, because I know that one's a little tricky there. So you see the work there. She did a good job on that one. The bearing, there's a bearing problem there. That was really good, really well done. Here's solving other people's problems. You'll see that she did a really good job there. And so she did an amazing job on a lot of those types of problems that were there. I know a lot of people last year did a lot of them on solving systems. So if you remember, any of the word problems from this last test would be a really good place to begin there. I think that's it. If you have any problems, you could always go to our topics page. If you're like, man, I don't remember any of these word problems, literally click on a random one. So if I clicked on this one, 4.5 to 4.8, and I scroll down, and I could look at some of the review sheets if I wanted to and see, how do we do that again? And you could go to some of the any of the review podcasts too, or any podcast, and check them out. And you could go to any of the sections. Everything's up here for you. Let's say 6.1 to 6.4. You could literally go off that review podcast and even check it out and say, okay, well, how was that again? And you could go to some of this stuff and look at some of the real world problems of, like, vectors is a really good one. And it just talks you through how do you do that as well. So that's the beauty of having podcasts throughout the year. For this project, you'll have a whole week to do it. So attack it, go through it. I'm here for you. Even though I may not be there with you, I'm going to be checking my emails, so make sure that you touch base with me, and we'll go from there, all right? Hey, y'all, I appreciate y'all so much.